Hey everyone, this is Razador's Pokemon Shenanigans, and today we're running our first poison type here on Invasive Species. And we've got quite the interesting setup today. Just a quick rundown of how we run our mons here in this series, in case you're new, or if it's been a while since you've tuned in. But we run all mons, with Gulpin being no exception, on max IVs, one egg move, a hidden power type of my choosing. I also select the nature I think will be best for the Pokemon, and if there's more than one ability, I'll choose the optimal one. If you're interested in a far more in-depth rundown of the series, you can find it in great detail in the description below. Now, getting back to our Sludgy Pudgy Pro Tag. Yeah, these aren't exactly winning stats, though I will say the HP's not that bad. But we're slow, don't hit very hard, and our defenses, the best stats next to our hit points, are also very mediocre. Well, maybe we can make up for this with our level up moves. It's not that big on coverage, but we do have a ton of useful tools here. Hoenn will get right after we smoke the Pallet Town rival. Encore is always a welcome addition to our collection. Sludge at level 14 means we can take advantage of the same type attack bonus very early. And we get Sludge Bomb at 39, so this is our first run where we can actually take advantage of this great move. And unfortunately, Amnesia, while it's pretty useful, it's not Gen 1 Amnesia, so not sure how much you'll be using that. All in all, I rather like this level up moveset, and to spice things up and to make up for this level up moveset's lacking coverage, as far as TMs go, our little buddy here gets pretty awesome coverage. Ice Beam, Giga Drain, Shadow Ball, there's some really useful stuff on here. Heck, we can even take advantage of the Bullet Seed TM, located where TM12 Water Gun is in Generation 1, and that could be useful for dispatching the early game hikers leading up to and beyond Rock Tunnel, should we want to save Water Pulse for a little bit later. As mentioned before, we get a single egg move to choose from, and although the list is small, most of these are actually quite good. I say most of them because Smog is on there. I think to date it's still 20 base power, 70 accuracy, so no thanks. Acid Armor, Dream Eater, and Pain Split are all useful. This was a tough one for me to pick from, but at the end of the day, I ended up going with Dream Eater. Base 100 power Psychic move, and it has synergy with Hoenn. Yeah, I'm not passing that up. And the best part is, if you want to get rid of it but learn it later, there's a move tutor west of Viridian City who can teach it to our Gulpin if we want to relearn it. It's locked behind Cut though, so if we do get rid of it early, we'll have to wait at least until we beat the second gym. So our stats aren't great, but our coverage is awesome, and we have very useful utility in the form of Encore and Hoenn. Those bad stats though, on top of being slow and knowing we have required Alakazam fights later in the game, well, best to focus on the here and now, where I know our Sludgy Pudgy Pro Tag will excel. With Hoenn and Dream Eater, we should make a very short work of Brock, so without further ado, what do you say we get right to it? What's up, Brock? Brock will be pretty easy with the Hoenn Dream Eater combo, but let's take a moment to talk strategy. Onix is faster, so if it wakes up first, Dream Eater will fail. Hoenn also functions as a sort of two-turn move, as in the Pokemon will fall asleep on the turn after Hoenn is used. That means we can use Pound to quote-unquote waste a turn before the sleep effect kicks in. Brock's team is lacking in special defense, so Dream Eater is the perfect move to make short work of them. And as you've been seeing on screen, Dream Eater heals us for a portion of the damage dealt. I feel like during one of these runs, Brock is really gonna get his revenge. He's just been biding his time. We'll go ahead and make our way to Cerulean City with same type Sludge. Making our way there is a simple task. Also in Fire Red, you can buy repels from the Pewter City Mart, which is awesome because you can just shave off all the wild encounters. Really saves time. Also gotta make sure we grab the TM for Bullet Seed. And as we make our way into Cerulean City, you guys know the drill by now. First things first, grab the rare candy in the backyard. Then we're gonna go to Misty's gym and battle all of the trainers there, which, funny enough, I lost to the first Goldeen trainer because we got a bit unlucky with a Horn Attack crit, but not really a big deal. Now, I'm thinking between the two major battles here. We're going to go for the Cerulean rival first. Hoenn is going to be very useful for dealing with Pidgeotto because it has Sand Attack, but Hoenn bypasses accuracy. It can also sort of counter Bulbasaur using Sleep Powder. Now, it's important as this Pidgeotto comes up. Turn 1, we're going to use Hoenn, and we take a little bit of damage off of Gust. We're going to use Pound, that way we don't accidentally poison him with Sludge. Unfortunately, turn 2, we do get hit by Sand Attack. Now, Dream Eater is affected by Sand Attack, but fortunately, neither miss. Next up is Abra, very easy one-shot with Sludge. Out comes Rattata, also a one-shot with Sludge. And as Bulbasaur comes out, turn 1 Yanya, we get hit by Sleep Powder, but we wake up first and end up defeating the Cerulean rival with full health. Love to see it. And before we make our way to Bill's house, going through Nugget Bridge, all that good stuff, I figure, let's go ahead and see how we measure up against Misty. I mean, Starmie I think will still be difficult, but I think Staryu should be pretty easy, although I am quite certain we'll be outsped by both of her Pokemon. Well, I guess we'll find out here in a second. Misty leading off with her Staryu. We're gonna go for a Yawn, and yeah, Staryu is faster. Not surprising, not a big deal, because next turn it's gonna get put to sleep. Dream Eater leaves us at 55 health for Starmie. And we're taking Water Pulse as we go for a Yawn Pound. Sludge doing great damage. Unfortunately for us, however, Starmie wakes up right before it goes down, and we lose our first attempt. Not a big deal. Starmie just has to stay asleep for a little bit longer. Either that or we get an awesome critical hit. That'd be cool too. This time, thanks to Misty using a Super Potion to heal Staryu, we're at full health courtesy of Dream Eater for Starmie. We're not using Dream Eater on Starmie because Starmie is part Psychic type, so the healing would be minuscule at best. Speaking of Starmie, it stays asleep just long enough for us to take it out with Sludge. I always like when Misty's easy. She's usually one of the harder fights here in Invasive Species. Starmie is really strong for this point in the game. And because we didn't have to leave to go level up, that's going to save quite a bit of time. So we're going to go ahead and make our way to Bill's house, get that SSN ticket. And I figure because we're in the fluctuating level up group, we don't have to fight too many trainers. The fluctuating level up group in the early game is pretty nice because we gain the fastest amount of experience points. I just hope that's not a problem later on because we gain XP very fast early on, but towards the end game, we gain XP at the slowest rate, as in it requires the most experience points to level up. And speaking of the SSN, we're going to battle our rival there, and this fight's pretty simple because we've gotten a lot stronger, despite the fact we haven't fought that many trainers. So while you watch Gulpin beat down this entire team, I'm going to talk about why I picked Bulbasaur for our rival starter. I'm thinking that because in the end battle he'll have two Intimidate users in the form of Gyarados and Arcanine. That's going to cripple the damage that Sludge Bomb's going to be dealing. And not only that, but Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, and Venusaur are part poison type, so we cannot poison them with Sludge or Toxic or whatever. But what I thought was really interesting, and I didn't even take this into account because the abilities that Gulpin has are Liquid Ooze and Sticky Hold. Not the most useful, but as we hit Yawn, and then we end up getting slapped with Leech Seed after we ourselves are put to sleep. Turns out that Leech Seed actually drains health from Ivysaur, which is really awesome, man. I did not think for a second that Gulpin's ability would be showcased in a battle, but that was pretty cool. That makes me even less worried about Erica because her best attacking move on her entire team is same-type Giga Drain. Pokemon with the Liquid Ooze ability will actually damage anyone who are trying to absorb health from them. I forgot that it also counted for Leech Seed. Very awesome. What's also awesome is this Lieutenant Surge fight. Not too much to talk about, although we would not be able to put Voltorb to sleep because of soundproof. Not that we needed it. Next up is the Game Corner Giovanni fight, and I have to say I was very surprised by this one. We did learn Water Pulse, so getting through Rock Tunnel was a simple task. And although our special attack isn't amazing, the fact that Onix and Rhyhorn are double weak to it make them complete freebies. Kangaskhan, on the other hand, is a whole different ballgame. It's faster, it can flinch us with a bite, it has Tail Whip, which has good synergy with same-type Mega Punch, and boy does that deal a lot of damage. Now, we do have Encore. I was hoping that we'd be able to Encore Kangaskhan into maybe going for Fake Out or Tail Whip, but that ended up not really working out, unfortunately. However, because Onix and Rhyhorn are always going to be free in this fight, I'm thinking that with a bit of persistence and luck in our favor, we can get by this fight right here, right now. Because the thing is that although Giovanni is way better in Fire Red Leaf Green as opposed to Red and Blue, he is sadly lacking in his usual guard spec, what he's most known for. But it's still Giovanni, and his AI has a very interesting quirk in this fight, specifically with Kangaskhan. Because Gen 3 loves status, whether it's a stat move like Poison Gas or Toxic or Thunder Wave, or a stat reduction move like Sand Attack, well, there are times where Kangaskhan will just keep spamming Tail Whip, and that's kind of good and bad because on one end, that would be upwards of 6 turns for us to just be laying into that thing with Sludge. Bite can flinch us, but it's special in Gen 3, so it gains no benefit from Tail Whip. But it's bad because if he uses it enough times, Mega Punch is going to one-shot us if it hits us with its 80 accuracy. But yeah, Giovanni really just can't help but be himself, and because of that, we're able to take him out and advance with the plot a little bit. Now, when we go for Giovanni first, I typically like to go back to Lavender Tower and battle the rival, make our way there, save Mr. Fuji, get the Poke Flute, and then go to Celadon City, and then defeat Erica. We're gonna do that here as well, because I would like to get Gulpin to level 39 when it can learn Sludge Bomb. Still very happy that we get to take advantage of that move. Just in case you're curious, sometimes you'll see it on a Pokemon's TM moveset here in Invasive Species, but TM36 is locked behind the postgame. It's in the 5th or 6th Seviile. It's in the same area where you battle the Rocket Executive and fight the scientist who stole the Sapphire off of you. Now, for the Lavender Tower rival battle, we also taught Shockwave, which is not only useful against Pidgeotto, but it's double super effective against Gyarados. And then I realized it didn't one-shot Gyarados, which is, that really is a sign of things to come. And now against the Ivysaur, we have it down to a science at this point. Yawn on turn 1, although we get put to sleep by Sleep Powder, it's going to be stopped dead in its tracks. But check out how close this fight actually was, despite the fact that we're over-leveled by a fair bit. I am not looking forward to Silphco. What I am looking forward to is battling Erica with Sludge Bomb. Now, 2 of her Pokemon will take neutral damage from this move, but we get the same type of attack bonus and has 90 base power. It is physical in this game. Thanks to the Sherry Bear curing us a Victory Bell Stun Spore, we'll go ahead and fight Tangela with full health, and Tangela being full grass type is obviously going to be a one-shot. The show of hands, is anybody surprised at that? Now, as Vileplume comes out, we do outspeed and go for Sludge Bomb, deal a lot of damage. We do get paralyzed off a Stun Spore, so Vileplume will be faster and go for Giga Drain, but thanks to Liquid Ooze, it damages itself, and we are able to finish it off very easily with a second Sludge Bomb. It's a good thing we waited till we got Sludge Bomb. Now, you remember at the start of the run when I said we can learn Dream Eater from a move tutor? Well, I think that's going to be the play against Koga, so let's go get it. The dude who teaches it to you is in the exact same location that he's in Gen 1. You just need Cut to get to him. Although in Generation 1 it was a TM. It doesn't really matter which version it is, though, because you can only get taught that by this guy one time, because move tutors are single-use, basically. Basically, they're TMs, but people instead of items. Alright, let's take Dream Eater on one last rodeo and fight Koga. Now, I am a bit concerned about coughing. It can't really do much to us, but it does have Smokescreen, which would be very unfortunate to see. But thankfully, he goes for Sludge before getting put to sleep, and Shockwave does quite a bit of damage, I must say, a lot more than I was expecting. With Coughing now asleep, we'll go and use Dream Eater and gain a bit of health, and then next up is Muck, and this thing has Minimize, and it is going to go for it. Yawn bypassing accuracy and evasion modifiers comes in extremely clutch here, let me tell you. Now, we bring Muck low enough to where Koga's going to use a Hyper Potion, but that's perfectly fine with me because we can heal to full health off a Dream Eater, and speaking of all things clutch, despite those minimizes, we didn't miss Dream Eater a single time. Down goes Muck. And now that we're at full health for Koga's final 2 Pokemon, for Coughing, I think we're not going to bother with Dream Eater. We're going to go straight into Shockwave because we know it's going to 2-shot it. I believe the 2 Coughing are identical to one another. Now for Koga's ace, Wheezing, we are going to try to put it to sleep with Yawn, and by try, I mean it's going to fall asleep on the following turn. Turn 1, we get hit by Sludge, not a big deal. Unfortunately, on turn 2, we do get hit by Smokescreen. We go for Dream Eater, and then Koga whips out a full heal, destroying our little strategy there. Well, maybe. We can always put him back to sleep. We go for Shockwave, waiting for Yawn to kick in, get hit by a second Smokescreen. Very unfortunate. Turns out not to matter all that much, though. Dream Eater does not miss, taking out Wheezing. Well, that was pretty great. I don't think we're going to need Dream Eater going forward, but it was awesome to use it as both an Egg move and a move tutor move, really taking advantage of Gulpin's coverage here. So in preparation for the Cerulean rival, we've been leveling up a fair bit here, and the fluctuating level up group is starting to kick in as far as the XP curve is concerned. Our little pickup army's been pretty generous with us this run. We're getting a lot of power point ups, and we're going to use those on Ice Beam and Sludge Bomb. I think our moves are pretty solid right now. Ice Beam for flying types and ground types, Shockwave for Gyarados, and Sludge Bomb for everything else. And checking our time, 4 hours, 35 minutes. Yeah, that XP curve from fluctuating, not a fan. The grind is worth it, though, as we're able to one-shot Pidgeot with Ice Beam. Hopefully we can one-shot Gyarados with Shockwave. Next up is Alakazam, but it only knows Future Sight as an attacking move in this fight, and it goes for Calm Mind anyway, so one Sludge Bomb down it goes, and out comes Gyarados. Did we one-shot with Shockwave? Well, we one-shot Pidgeot with Ice Beam, so we should one-shot with double weakness to electricity. Never mind. Oh dear. It is still the best option for Gyarados, though, I must say. Anyway, Gyarados only hits us with Dragon Rage, not a big deal, and as Growlithe comes out, hitting us with a second Intimidate, doesn't matter all that much because we crit it and one-shot it with Sludge Bomb. And our rival might have a Venusaur now, but same strategy as before. Go for a Yawn. It misses with Sleep Powder, that's very good. We're gonna go for Sludge Bomb as wait for Yawn to kick in, and Sleep Powder misses again. Perfect. We'll go for Ice Beam and do almost all of Venusaur's health. Love to see that. It's slow enough to where he can finish it off with Sludge Bomb as it never wakes up. Now, unlike back at the Rocket Game Corner, I'm not too concerned about Giovanni this time around. Yeah, Kangaskhan is bulky and can deal a lot of damage to us. But between that and Nidoqueen not having a ground move in that fight, there ain't too much to worry about. We also don't have to worry about Poison Point ever being a poison type ourselves. At the start of the video, I mentioned that we were running our first Poison-type Pokemon. Well, that's a little bit relevant because Poison-type is actually my favorite. And speaking of Giovanni, well, we freeze Nidorino right away. That's awesome. We'll use Yawn on Kangaskhan as it goes for Rage. Not a big deal. Shockwave for the setup turn, and now that it's asleep, we're going to be going in with Sludge Bomb, trying to take this thing down as fast as we can. Rhyhorn's a one-shot, and Nidoqueen is a three-shot with 2 Ice Beams, and we're going to finish it with Sludge Bomb. That was a pretty simple fight. I anticipate Sabrina being pretty easy as well, despite the fact that we're weak to her entire team. Alakazam's dangerous, but if it goes for Future Sight instead of attacking us, we should be alright. Well, Kadabra we're faster, one shot with Sludge Bomb. Out comes Mr. Mime, down goes Mr. Mime. Oh, there's Future Sight. Yeah, we're fine. For Venomoth, we'll switch to Ice Beam. We take a pretty weak Psybeam, goes down in 2 shots from us. Yeah, very easy fight. So next up is Blaine, and I can see this being rather problematic. But that's pretty on brand for Invasive Species runs here in Kanto, Blaine being the hardest gym leader and all. But the fact that he has 2 Intimidate users means that our attack stat, thus Sludge Bomb's damage, is gonna be absolutely crippled, but it's probably still the best option, all things considered. And to my great surprise and delight, despite Intimidate, Growlithe is a one-shot with a non-critical Sludge Bomb. Ponyta is not, but it misses Fire Blast. That's huge. Now, Blaine does have Hyper Potions. We deal well over half to Ponyta, so it really doesn't matter. What I'm trying to get him to do is use his full heal on Ponyta so that I won't have it for Arcanine. Unfortunately, that doesn't happen, so Sludge Bomb takes out Ponyta, and next is Rapidash. Surprisingly, we are faster. It's probably thanks to the badge boost. Fire Blast burns us, but we have a Rossberry equipped just for such an occasion. The follow-up takes him down, but Arcanine comes out. There's that second Intimidate. Turn 1, we go for Yawn, and Fire Blast misses. That's amazing. While Yawn takes effect, we go for Shockwave and deal a little bit of damage. Fire Blast hits us hard. Blaine pulls out the full heal. Sludge Bomb's doing better damage than expected. We bring Arcanine down low, but unfortunately, a critical Fire Blast finishes us off. Now, I'm feeling pretty good about this fight, actually. We made really good headway here, but we are going to need Fire Blast to miss us a couple of times. Judging by the damage Arcanine was dealing, I think we can survive 2 Fire Blasts from the Arcanine, but in order for that to happen, everyone else on the team has to miss. But considering that Fire Blast has a 15% miss chance, and if moves don't have 100 accuracy, they have 50 accuracy, I don't think it's going to take that many tries to pull this off. But hey, you get to see on full display Blaine being the hardest gym leader in the Kanto runs. And on this attempt here, Growlithe a one-shot as usual. Ponyta's Fire Blast does very little damage. I'm very happy about that. Rapidash just doesn't do that much either. As Arcanine comes out, I decide to go for the mother of all Hail Marys here. Go for Ice Beam and get a freeze on the first turn. Oh, that's awesome. No full heal either as he used it earlier, and although he does heal with a Hyper Potion after we attack, the follow-up Sludge Bomb crits and takes out Arcanine. Well, that was not the plan, but I'll happily concede and take that. Now, we're going to take our Sludgy Pudgy Pro Tag over to the Sevii Isles, get the hidden rare candy on Isle number 2, as well as the hidden power point up on the 3rd island. All we gotta do is beat up some bikers who have been trying to invade the islands. Find some guy's kid who is disconcertingly named Lostel. I think we know what he had in mind when he picked that name, just completely neglecting his parental responsibilities. I don't think bribing us with a Moonstone's gonna make you look good there, buddy. Hey, you know who else doesn't look good? Giovanni, because despite the fact we're poison type, we're able to completely crush this entire roster. I mean, Dugtrio is faster and does a fair bit of damage with Earthquake, but despite that, everything else is a one-shot, so even if Dugtrio crit us, we would have survived. Yeah, it's probably a good thing this guy goes into hiding. He lost as the ground-type gym leader to a first-form poison type. Now, before we can get to Victory Road and arrive at the League, we gotta battle our rival one more time, so let's get right to it, shall we? So, Pidgeot is not a one-shot with Ice Beam, so that means we're not one-shotting Gyarados with Shockwave, I'm sure. Speaking of Shockwave, we'll go for that to KO Pidgeot because Alakazam will go for Disable, another Gen 3 AI quirk, and we're going with Sludge Bomb, one-shot the Alakazam. Now, as Growlithe comes out, we get hit by Intimidate. We don't one-shot it with Sludge Bomb, but we do poison it. It goes for Agility, so it's going to be faster than us next turn, but it misses Takedown, and we finish it off. After Growlithe, he's going to send out Rhyhorn, but we saw from Giovanni that that's completely inconsequential. One Ice Beam, down it goes. Next, please. So as Gyarados comes out, I decided to go for a yawn just for safety, anticipating that Shockwave won't one-shot it, and turns out that I was correct, and we end up getting hit by a Hydro Pump as a result. It's whatever, we'll be alright. It falls asleep, it faints, I guess that's interchangeable at this point. As Venusaur comes out, going for a yawn as it sets up Growth, it's also faster than us. I decided to go for Ice Beam because we've been hit by 2 Intimidates. We don't freeze it, which is good because we're trying to put it to sleep, and considering the damage we just dealt, the follow-up should put it down, and it does. Very good. Now we're going to make our way to the league, battle the trainers in Victory Road, and then I'm going to use the Versus Seeker to go ahead and try and get some RNG with rare candies, because I think we're going to need that for the Elite Four. On our way, we'll grab that hidden Lepid Berry that's just after the Thunder Badge guard, bro. After we pick up, we'll drop a save. I should anyway because of that clean rival fight. 6 hours, 30 minutes. Well, let's get to training, shall we? Although, thanks to the power of editing, we are right at the Elite Four. We're going to slap a Person Berry onto our little buddy here because Lapras has Confuse Ray. Don't want to get hit by that. And against Dugong, Shockwave is dealing pretty good damage, although we're also level 80. Still, two-shotting, it's very nice. Ooh, Clayster's a one-shot. Shockwave and Sludge Bomb take out Slowbro. Sludge Bomb's dealing good damage to Lapras there. Lorelei does heal. We finally poison it, though. That's good. And then we hit ourselves, and then we get frozen off of Ice Beam. And thanks to taking forever to defrost, we do go down on the first attempt. Unfortunate, but this fight totally winnable. We definitely need that Person Berry for Lapras, though, but we don't want it to go for Confuse Ray on turn 1. And as we make our way to Lapras, yeah, pretty much second verse, same as the first here. Thanks to Sludge Bomb's poisoning and not being frozen, we're able to two-shot it, which means we're one-shotting Jinx for sure. As for Bruno, not really worried about him because we have Ice Beam for the 2 Onix, so we don't gotta worry about Earthquake at all. You'll see me go for Ice Beam against Hitmonchan on turn 1. That's because I don't want it surviving Sludge Bomb and then going for Counter, which would almost certainly take us out. Other than that, Bruno, hardly even worth talking about because we sweep his entire team with Sludge Bomb and Ice Beam for the 2 Onix. Now for Agatha, funny enough, I completely forgot that we can learn Sludge Bomb. I was mixing up Gulpin's moveset with the one we're going to be running in Ruby, but I digress. Our hidden power type is Dark, so not a total waste. I figure we need something strong for Alakazam in the final fight as well, so hey, it's also going to be helpful for Agatha's Ghosts. And we can use Shockwave to finish off Gengar. Haunter's a one-shot. Gengar 2 hits us with a weak Shadow Ball before we two-shot it with Hidden Power Dark. Golbat goes down in 1 hit, and Arbok's a 2-shot, only hitting us with Iron Tail. The defense drop doesn't matter because it's a 2-shot. But yeah, touching up on Hidden Power Dark, my other concern was that if he sends out the Intimidate users before Alakazam, Shadow Ball's damage is not going to be great against Alakazam. Let's go beat Lance real quick. And ooh, Shockwave does one-shot Gyarados. This is looking good. Ice Beam nearly one-shots Aerodactyl, but I'm not too concerned because once Aerodactyl goes down, we should be in the clear. We'll go ahead and switch to Shockwave to take him down. And we win because Ice Beam mows through the rest of his team like a hot knife through butter. But yeah, it was actually very hard to settle on a hidden power for Gulpin here. So if it turns out to be a dud, that'll be useful information for when we do a pseudo rematch because we're going to go through this again as Swalot sometime in the future. Well, the Elite Four has been pretty smooth. Besides Lorelei, everyone's been a first try, so let's see how the champion goes. Since we didn't one-shot Pidgeot with Ice Beam, we're probably not going to here either. And we take a weak Aerial Ace, 37 damage. We're actually going to use Shockwave as he heals, because as we go for it again, he sends out Rhydon. Perfect. We used Ice Beam, down goes Rhydon. That's 1 Pokemon down. Alakazam sets up Reflect as Hidden Power Dark does pretty good damage. Psychic brings us to 53 as we take out Alakazam. Our Citrus Berry brings us to 83 as we finish off Pidgeot with Ice Beam. Alright, moment of truth. Is Shockwave one-shot yet? Oh, come on, man. Lance's was, what, level 58? We can't one-shot this one with Shockwave? I bet you that was a low damage roll. Well, we do make it to the final Pokemon, Arcanine, but he has extreme speed, goes for it, and finishes us off. And you know what the sad part is that was the best attempt I had gotten for quite a while, because, I mean, Alakazam by itself, especially because it sets up Reflect, can just absolutely destroy us with Psychic. I was kind of confused, because Alakazam, of course it does a lot of damage, we're weak to Psychic, but typically the AI will like to go for Calm Mind if it can't one-shot us, but Alakazam's just like, nah, we're good, I can solo this guy. Trying to smack talk our sludgy pudgy pro tag. But it also turns out that he doesn't always swap into Rhydon with the Shockwave strat. Sometimes he does. That's why I banked on it on our first attempt. But as we keep going through attempts here, I'm starting to realize that maybe that's not the strategy, because if we can take out Alakazam quicker, that'd be great. But we're going to need a way to heal ourselves. Now, we can't use items in battle besides held items. And of course, that's only if the Pokemon is holding the item going into battle. But man, this was heartbreaking, man. Like, Gulpin was doing such a great job against the Elite Four. Yeah, it's over level 80 now. But you gotta think, with our base stat total being a level 80, we're still weaker than a lot of the stuff we're fighting. I mean, Alakazam is just making absolute mincemeat out of us. Alakazam definitely getting his revenge for how much he's been pretty much bullied this entire run ever since we fought him as an Abra back in Cerulean City. Now, there are some rare candies that I typically don't grab because sometimes I forget they're even there. There's another one on Cycling Road I didn't get. There's one before Rock Tunnel that I almost always skip over. You know, me just being a general meathead and skipping by it because I'm trying to go fast, right? But as I go through these attempts here, I'm realizing we have to get stronger. I don't think we're ever going to outspeed that Alakazam, but we're going to need some level ups anyway, because we definitely want to one-shot Pidgeot with Ice Beam. So I'm going to go grab some rare candies, do some Versus Secret training. I have a specific route I like to go, and if you want to check that out, I actually showed that in my Trico run. It was the first run of Invasive Species, so if you'll excuse me, I'll see you guys when we're level 88, and we have also since replaced Shockwave with Giga Drain. Pidgeot now being a one-shot is awesome. Alakazam still does tremendous damage to us, but since he didn't send out Rhydon, we can now use Giga Drain to one-shot this guy and get back quite a bit of our health. That does mean we don't have a great move for Gyarados, but we still have Yawn. We can use Sleep Strats to try and put this guy down. Fortunately, he's generous and is staying asleep despite Ice Beam, and the real icing on the cake there, critical it with Giga Drain, 232 health for Arcanine. As Arcanine goes out, go for a Yawn turn 1, turn 2, go for Ice Beam, and once Arcanine gets put to sleep, we're going for Hidden Power Dark, trying to do as much damage as we possibly can. Hey, that crit works, and check this out, my brain was so fried by the end of this that I'm thinking that I'm going for Ice Beam against Venusaur, right? I'm going for Hidden Power Dark, I see that in editing, and of course, throughout the course of the run. Yeah, we almost got taken out by Solar Beam there because I had such tunnel vision. Fortunately, I do realize that I'm not clicking Ice Beam. Yawn puts it to sleep, Ice Beam takes it out, and this run is finally over. Yeah, that was pretty frustrating to realize while I was doing this fight, but hey, we won, and the game literally threw us a bone and was like, yo, you've suffered enough, get out of here, get on to your next run, kid. But yeah, level 88, I did use a rare candy I picked up before the battle, just to try and, you know, not get into the 90s tier. Could have gone higher, but didn't want to. Yeah, Gulpin's endgame was pretty brutal, all things considered, for an otherwise rather smooth run. And unfortunately, that last grind is going to cause Gulpin's rank to suffer as we end off at 9 hours 34 minutes. So taking those into account, where does that place Gulpin in our TR system? Well, level 88 is very, very high into the D tier, and 934 is well into the E tier as well. And considering that we had to get very lucky to win that fight, getting to Venusaur still pretty difficult, I feel very comfortable putting Gulpin in the E tier. Next up is Pokemon Ruby with just one Grimer. I'm pretty sure Grimer is going to do better than Gulpin, but we'll have to find out when we get to that episode. See you guys later. Take it easy.